$81,000. That's where Bitcoin is sitting right now. And on the surface, it looks calm. It looks stable, almost boring, right? But here's what most people aren't talking about. Underneath that stability, there are forces moving, geopolitical, institutional, regulatory, that could determine exactly where Bitcoin goes next. And if you're not paying attention to all of them at once, you're missing the full picture. So let's break it down, because this is where it gets interesting. Bitcoin touched $82,400 over the weekend, a clean push. Momentum was building, and then it cooled. The bulls pulled back, the crowd went quiet, and we settled right back into that $81,000 to $82,000 range. Now, a lot of traders look at that and say, nothing happened. But seasoned investors, they're reading something completely different. When Bitcoin holds a range this tight in the middle of global uncertainty, that's not weakness, that's resilience. That's the market telling you it refuses to break down, even when everything around it is shaking. And trust me, right now, a lot is shaking. Let's talk about what's really weighing on the market right now. US-Iran tensions are escalating, and the ripple effects are being felt across every risk asset on the planet, including crypto. Iran came to the table. They proposed terms, a ceasefire, conditions around the Strait of Hormuz, war compensation. It looked for a moment like a de-escalation was possible. Then Trump rejected it, flat out, said Iran hadn't agreed to the core nuclear demands. And just like that, the tension snapped back. Now here's why this matters to you as a crypto investor. Bitcoin is still classified by most institutional models as a risk asset. When geopolitical fear rises, risk-off sentiment spreads fast. Institutions reduce exposure, retail gets nervous, and the price feels that pressure, even if it doesn't immediately crash. This is the invisible hand pushing against Bitcoin right now, and it's not going away anytime soon. But here's where the narrative flips, because not everything in this market is bearish. The US Senate is quietly working on something that could reshape the entire crypto industry. It's called the Clarity Act, a new regulatory framework designed to finally give crypto companies the legal certainty they've been demanding for years. A Senate Banking Committee hearing is locked in for May 14th. That's days away. And if this bill gains real traction, we're talking about a fundamental shift in how institutions view this market. Legal clarity, regulatory confidence, the green light for billions sitting on the sidelines, waiting for exactly this kind of signal. This isn't just policy talk. This is the foundation being built for the next major wave of institutional adoption. And speaking of institutions, while retail investors are hesitating, the smart money is loading up. Strategy, formerly known as MicroStrategy, just dropped another $43 million on Bitcoin. 535 Bitcoin added to their stack. And their total holdings? 818,869 Bitcoin, valued at approximately $66.5 billion. Let that number sink in for a second. This is not a company that buys Bitcoin when it feels safe. This is a company that buys Bitcoin when they believe the long-term thesis is unbreakable. And right now, in the middle of geopolitical tension and market uncertainty, they're still buying. That's not noise, that's conviction. Now let's talk about what's quietly happening beneath Bitcoin's shadow, because this is where things get really interesting. Ethereum moved up, XRP nudged higher, Solana, Cardano, Dogecoin, all of them recorded small but meaningful gains. Nothing explosive, nothing that made headlines. But that's exactly the point, because in crypto, the biggest moves are never announced in advance. They build quietly. They accumulate beneath the surface, and then, when the conditions are right, they explode. Right now, the altcoin market is in that exact pre-ignition phase. Cautious momentum, tight ranges, low noise. But the smart money? They've seen this pattern before, and they know what it means. When Bitcoin consolidates at a strong level, like it's doing right now at $81,000, it historically acts as a launch pad, not just for itself, but for the entire market. Every cycle, the sequence looks the same. Bitcoin stabilizes, institutions accumulate, regulation clarifies, and then the altcoins follow. So let's zoom out for a second and look at what we actually have here. You've got Bitcoin holding firm despite geopolitical pressure. You've got the US Senate days away from a landmark regulatory hearing. You've got one of the most aggressive institutional buyers on the planet still purchasing at these levels. And you've got an altcoin market that's quietly, patiently coiling. Each one of these signals on its own tells a story, but together they're painting a picture that very few people in this space are connecting right now.